Hi, Julie here with paperbeadcrafts.com, and today I have a problem solving video for you today. If you're making paper beads and you're stringing them up and getting ready for them to hang after you're dipping them and to glaze your beads, if you use the 50-pound fishing line like I do, you could end up with a problem with curly fishing line when it's fresh off the roll. Like this is the roll that I use. It's 50-pound fishing line, and when I first take it off the roll, it's really coiled up and it won't hang straight for the first 2 or 3 dips. So I've solved that problem. Someone the other day emailed me and left a comment on one of my YouTube videos that she uses fishing lures that weigh 1 ounce. And I like the idea of putting a weight on the end, and so I went on Amazon and I looked for fishing sinkers and found that just about all of them are made out of lead. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to use lead. So I came up with a new idea. These are weights that you can make yourself, and this is one of them. And what it is, basically, it is a 3/4 inch nut with 2 12mm beads and 2 4-inch or 4mm beads, all put together on a head pin. And I used one of my little S hooks that I make with the paper clips. And I showed you how to do that in a previous video, but I'll show you how to do that again. And so today's video is about how to make these little weights for hanging on the end of your bead strands when they won't hang straight like this one. It won't hang straight. So you just put the weight on, just like that. Well, it works better when you're actually having it hanging on your drying rack, but there you go. It straightens it right out. And this weighs only a little bit over a 1/2 ounce. So anywhere between a 1/2 ounce and 1 ounce is good. If you want to make your own. And these nuts only cost me about 26 cents a piece. I already had the beads in my stash, and so let's get started on how to make them. Okay, I've got a mess here. And what these are, I just talked about it just a few seconds ago. We're going to be making these weights to put on the end of the curly strings to make them so that when you hang them up, they no longer are curly and they won't stick together. And this video is going to show you how to actually put these together. It's really simple. I'm not even going to bother with a project sheet. I'll put the materials list that you'll need for each of these in the description below. So let's get started making these, and then I'm going to have fun dipping these. Okay, first things first. Okay, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need a 3/4 inch nut. Could be a slightly bigger one if you want to. This one happens to be about a 1/2 ounce. And then you're going to need 2 12mm beads of any kind. I actually have these pearls here, but I also used little gold beads that I had in my stash that I thought were really ugly, so I decided to use them for weights. And then I also had, this one's the first one I made. These are actual gemstone beads. I believe they're some sort of a brown lace agate or something like that. These are genuine gemstones. It was the first one I made. I didn't really need the little tiny beads at the ends because the holes were small enough. So again, if you happen to have beads with small enough holes that the head pins won't go through, you can eliminate the little seed beads. Alright, so, and then there's the paper clip. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And so you're going to need the 12 ounce, yeah, really, the 12mm beads that are round. You're going to need 4mm beads. They can either be the little tiny round ones, or those, I wouldn't use the size 6 Miyuki seed beads because the holes might be actually too big for the head pins, but you can use the lesser expensive E-beads. And they're still size 6, but the holes are generally smaller. Okay, and you can also use those plastic craft beads. After all, these are just weights. They're not jewelry. Nobody's going to see them. They're for your use. And I have a 4mm or 5mm plastic faceted pink bead for this, but you can also use 12mm faceted plastic beads for this part too. It's whatever you have in your stash. Hopefully, if you're like me, I didn't have to actually go out shopping except for the nuts. Believe it or not, my local grocery store also has a hardware section, so I was able to get them right there. I paid 26 cents a piece for them. You may spend more or less depending on where you get them. And you want to get the 3/4 inch or slightly bigger is also fine. But you know what? The ones that were 7/8 of an inch were twice as much money. Go figure. Anyway, so we'll get started on that. And the tools that you'll need for this little tiny project, of course, let me pull my fancy zebra stuff out. Okay, so we've got round nose pliers. You're going to need those. That's important, especially when it comes to making the S-hooks. And you're going to need flat nose pliers for helping you hold things, making that really actually happen. You're going to need wire cutters, and that's for cutting your paper clip that you're going to need. Alright, and with one paper clip you'll get 4 S-hooks, and I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. Okay, so let's get started on that. And the first things first, you want to get your little doohickey thing weight assembled. Alright. And don't mind me if I'm a little punchy today. I've got a cold coming on and I'm really trying to fight it. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the 4mm on bead first, on first, whatever. Okay. And then we're going to put the 12mm bead on next. There we go, all the way to the bottom. And then we're going to put the little nut thing on. And by the time I was done making all my little weights, I was a little nuts. But anyway. Okay, then we're going to put the next one on. And the reason for that is because it kind of locks everything in place so that it fits together really well. And because if you tried to put if you tried to put the head pin on the nut alone, it won't work. Obvious. Anyway, that's why we're doing all the fancy little beads. And that's why I say use your trash beads, the ones that you don't really care about, because they're going to get covered with glaze, believe me, when you actually go to use them. And then the next step is you take your round nose pliers and you're going to make a wrapped loop. Well, actually, you don't really have to if you don't want to, but I am going to do a wrapped loop for that. And the way I do that, hopefully you can see this, I'm going to put my round nose pliers, needle nose pliers, right on top of the bead like that. And I'm going to push over this top end. Okay, so I'm at that point. And then I'm going to turn my needle nose pliers up so that there's a tiny bit of a gap underneath. And I'm going to bring this wire back up around and bring it to there. And then I'm going to while holding on to the wire as tight as I can, I'm going to twist this so that the wires cross, just like that. Then I'm going to take my needle nose pliers out and put them back in so that the bottom nose, I guess you could call it, is through the loop. And I'm going to hang on to it with all my might and grab a hold of my flat nose or chain nose pliers and grab a hold of that wire and start wrapping it around. This is actually the hardest part. And you're going to wrap that around, and if you have to, keep moving this around, just turning it over and grabbing a hold of that wire. Like I said, this is not easy. But I like the wrapped loop because it stays on stronger. Okay, and then you're going to wrap that around again. And then this is the part where it gets kind of tricky. You want to hold this away from there as much as you can and put your flat nose pliers over the wire and and wrap it around. You're going to do that a few times until you try to lay that wire down on top of what you're wrapping. And you might need to keep moving it around and around to get a good angle. And that's basically it. It is done. Very fast, very easy. And I am all done making the 20 that I wanted to make. And that's it. And they got little different seed beads. One more step. Almost forgot the paperclip thing. Okay, so we're going to do the S-hook next. And let's put these away. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to straighten out your paperclip. Alright. And this is a jumbo paperclip. The wire is 6 inches long. So you're going to want to cut that in half so that each piece is 3 inches. And then you're going to cut each half in half so that you have 4 pieces that are 1.5 inches long. I don't have a ruler here, but I do have a piece that I've already got cut and ready to go for my last weight. So I do have another nut. I'll probably make another weight or two. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started making this. You're going to need your round nose pliers. This is very important. You're going to push this wire into your round nose pliers so that they're right up next to the boxy end here, the square end. And you're going to wrap this around all the way until the wire actually touches the wire, the end of the wire. Okay, so you have one side done. Then you're going to turn it over so that the loop is down, and you want that little end of the wire to stick out just the tiniest bit. See that? Okay, and then you're going to grab a hold of this and you're going to turn this and loop it all the way around until the wire touches the end of the wire. And then you have your little S-hook. You might want to fiddle with it a little bit, but that's what it should look like when you're done. And then you're going to attach it to your weight, just like that, and close this up. And hopefully that'll never fall off. And that is that. You're done with your weights for your fishing line dipping bead thingy. Bead thingy? Alright, so that's it. I hope you like this video. I know I'm a little bit punchier than usual, and but I really don't feel well. Alright, so have a great day. I'm going to take a nap now, and I hope this solves the problem for you, and I hope you do this. Let me know if you do. Put a comment in the comments section if you use this idea. Again, I am not going to make a project sheet. I'll just put the list of materials that you're going to need in the description, and you can just refer to this video every time you want to, if you need to remember how to make these, because it's really very simple. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Goodbye.